Hey, beautiful people, what's going on? Hope you're enjoying your day today. I am as well. Just gonna get into a little bit of things here. I wanted to talk about Colombia, which I'm currently in. Currently here in Colombia. Currently in Cartagena, Colombia, and I know a lot of people have been asking me a lot of questions about my experiences in Colombia because I've lived here before. This is my second time living here in the beautiful country. Um, and they just want to know, little things like, how is it? Is it safe? What's the food like? What's the cost of living like? All those things, and I'm gonna go into them and we can talk about them. So my backstory is, guys, I've been. How did I get here? I guess you could ask. Many people want to know. So I actually started traveling. I was a film director for years. I had a production company, and I was in Texas, and I was traveling a lot, and I really wanted just to continue to travel and film and things like that. So I decided to do that, and I also was I was running another company as well during that time, and I just got to the point in my life where I was just like, hey, I want to travel, and I want to live somewhere abroad. So I decided to do that. So the first place that I actually traveled to, which is so crazy, is Colombia. So the reason why I chose Colombia, because if you never heard of a company called Passport Heavy, that's ran by Jabril, I watched their video and I was like, yo, you know what, this would be a nice place to go. Now I've been other places. I've been to South Africa, I've been to Ethiopia. I've traveled pretty consistently, but to live somewhere would have been, I had to find somewhere close at first, and I just packed my bags and I moved to Colombia. So I tell anybody, if you are planning to travel and you are planning to move somewhere and it's your first time moving somewhere, move to Colombia. Why? I think it's a very easy move. It does have a little contrast in moving. It's not as easy as moving to Mexico, because I moved to Mexico and lived in Mexico as well. It's not as easy as Mexico, but it's a good learning lesson. It's safe, and one thing that I can say is there are a lot of expats in Medellin. I moved to Medellin first, so again, Colombia is a great place to start if you are planning to travel, right? How is the process in doing so? Well, I just packed my bags and got on a plane and came to Colombia. I didn't really look too much into the visa situation. I just knew that I had a certain amount, like 90 days. 90 days was fine with me. That worked pretty well, and I didn't have to pay for anything extra. So that was kind of one of those things where I was like, you know what, this is an easy trip. So I decided to come to Colombia one way. I got a one-way ticket, and I went to Medellin. So when you are planning, I would say, guys, look in, do your research. One, understand the neighborhood, understand the culture, understand the language a little bit, understand where you're going, at least, right? All that information could be found on, Google, from the location, the neighborhoods. Watch a lot of YouTube videos so you can have an idea of where you're going and what you're doing. And also, one thing that a lot of people don't do, they don't do it at all. I mean, some people do it, but not really. They do not watch the walkthroughs. I think that walkthroughs are very, very important. And I also use Google Earth to understand where I am and what neighborhoods I'm in, because by the time that I land, normally in any country, I kind of know how to physically get around already. So I think that's just one thing that I do. I kind of see what the flow of traffic is when I see the walkthroughs. I kind of see what areas I might want to go to, what areas I might not want to go to. So those are some things that you might want to start off in understanding, what destination you want to go to, or if you're going to come to Colombia. So why Colombia? Well, Colombia for me, like I said before, I heard it was safe. It's very, very close to the States. It's only a couple hours away. And I really wanted to be immersed in a country that had like real culture. I think that I've gone some places to where it's been, I really don't like the Americanized, experiences, but it has its own culture, it has its own experience. Some places you go, people don't even speak English. The cost of living is very affordable. The food is very affordable, and you can actually either be in a city, you can be in the countryside, you can be in the Caribbean. You have so many wide, different type of atmospheres that you can choose from. So those were a couple of reasons why I ended up going. So let's just talk about one of my favorite cities. My favorite city, honestly, and the place to go to me personally, is Medellin. I think Medellin is just magnificent. I think that it's a beautiful, beautiful place. It's safe. It's a city to where there's a couple things. The reason why I say it's so amazing. One is the weather. I really like the weather. It's like spring. It's called eternal spring because it's always springtime there. I do like the fact that in Medellin that the neighborhoods are pretty different. You have different neighborhoods. So, you know, El Poblado is different than Envigado, and Laureles is a little bit slower, a little bit more family oriented. You have Sabaneta, you have, it's a mass city, so you have different neighborhoods and barrios to where you can have different experiences. I think that it's not like, I'm currently in Cartagena. Cartagena has one experience. I think it's just the wall city, right? And then you have Marbella, which is by the coast, Marbella by the harbor, and then you have Torreses, Mangas by the harbor, you have Marbella, which I'm close to. So it's really, really very, very similar. The neighborhoods don't really have too much different cultural experiences, but in Medellin you do have different cultural experiences, and I think that's what makes Medellin such a magical place. Where would I stay in Medellin? You know, Medellin has several neighborhoods, but it really depends on, you know, who you are, what you're looking for, and your experience level. That's why I recommend Medellin as one of the first cities to go to as an expat. Because, of course, as anything that you're going to do, you're probably going to go to the most populated area that has expats. And that area is called El Poblado, which is considered to be the most expensive area pretty much in Medellin. I don't know if there's another neighborhood that has that type of, no, those are probably the most expensive apartments, which are pretty cheap compared to places like in the States and stuff like that, but it is a little bit more expensive, right? So El Poblado is probably where you would start, and then from there you can kind of gauge, get more comfortable with a city, understand how to move around, and then you can start slowly going into the other neighborhoods to where if you feel more safe and understand how to maneuver and move around, then you would enjoy it a little bit more. So I really like El Poblado to get people started. Then you could probably move to Laureles, which everybody probably does, and then they start moving their way out towards like the north, or they start at Sabaneta and Envigado. But overall, Medellin is beautiful because it has all of these valleys and just a great energy and great vibe. So I tell people all the time, if you can, you know, start off there, and that's going to be a good introduction to the Colombian culture, which they are paisas, they're considered to be paisas, and you can kind of gauge how to maneuver, what you like, what you don't like, and that's how it all starts, right? So how much does it really cost for, sorry, I had some butter here. Okay, so kind of how much does it cost to get started to live in, live in Medellin? Well, I think budgets can vary. The thing about Medellin or Colombia or any place that you travel to in the beginning, I would have a little higher budget in the first 3 months than I would ever have, right? So just say, for instance, my budget is like, just throw out $1,000 budget. I'm just gonna say that. Say, for instance, we have $1,000 budget, right? I would make that budget $2,000 for my first at least 90 days. Because what ends up happening is you're going to stay somewhere that's overly priced. You're going to, what, did my internet go out? Oh, okay. It's Colombia, guys. It's Colombia, guys, so, you know, internet might flicker. So, like I was saying, you would want to definitely have a bigger budget in the beginning of your first 3 months, because you're probably going to get taken advantage of. You don't know the lay of the land like that. I've been traveling for years, and I still get taken advantage of sometimes off the first couple of months, especially in a new country, or if I just came back and things have changed. So definitely have at least double your budget for the first couple of months, right? So let's say for instance you have $1,000 budget. I think that you should turn it to $2,000, because you might have a place running around $800, $900 a month. Because I'm going to say the reason why you do that is because you want to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable. You want to have something to, because some of those places can run like $800 and $900 a month for a 1-bedroom, which is extremely expensive for Colombia, because Colombians are not paying that much in rent. And you want to make sure that, one, you're in an area to where you can maneuver, and you want to be in a place that's safe, and you want to have some form of comfort. Like if you're used to specific things, this is your first time traveling or your second time traveling, you want to have good Wi-Fi. You want to have maybe your washer and dryer. You want to have an oven. You want to have certain things that can remind you of home, and two, you can learn how to maneuver without those things. And as a traveler, you will learn how to do that because that's what traveling is all about, right? So, again, in Medellin, you'll be in El Poblado probably, and you'll be paying more for rent than you normally would because you don't really know anything and you don't really know anybody, and that's just normal. That's just a normal process, right? So again, I think that is something that you just have to gauge for yourself and see how much you're going to spend. And again, the reason why I said to double your budget, because you're also going to be spending money on food. You don't know where the grocery stores are yet. You don't know, where the the farmers markets are, or with the bodegas that you can get the fresh fruit and the fresh meat and all of those things. So it takes time, guys. It takes time. But anyway, so Medellin is definitely a great place to start. I have guys flying into Medellin pretty consistently. I know a lot of young women that are flying to Medellin as well, because it is safe for women to travel by themselves. And let's talk about the safety element of this. So safety in Medellin is a little bit different. It's a little bit unorthodox compared to the rest of the world. However, in Medellin, people don't get robbed like that on a consistent basis because it's pretty well protected. The people there don't want any problems or issues, and that's something that they stick to, right? And I think that's very, very important, and I think that's an amazing thing that they don't have that issue. Like you can walk out at night, you can go to the bars and the clubs and not get harassed and stalked and people taking advantage of you and things like that. So that's a really, really good experience that I can say about Medellin. During my time in Medellin, I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any problems. I think that you do hear negative situations happen in Colombia with men, and they're getting drugged and taken advantage of. That's a whole nother video that I have no problem talking about, but that's just something that again, you have to be cautious about the people that you're with and all of those things. So I think that that's just something that you got to be cautious about. But on the flip side, it is a great place, and it's a great place to live. Now, in regards to going out and eating out and food and all those things, I feel like Medellin has a variety of different foods that you can eat in specific areas. I think El Poblado, Laureles, and Sabaneta and all of those areas have really, really, really good food. The issue is that you have to go and eat out a lot. Like going to eat out a lot is just something that you possibly would do for your first couple of months. I think that that's just something that we all do. You just blow a bag eating, and you're gonna do that. For me personally, I tell everybody, like, really, really learn the supermarket game. Learn where your supermarkets are, where you can get good stuff, good food, because you can burn a lot of money just eating out. And honestly, personally, I don't know about you guys, but I eat out a lot, and it's tiring sometimes. It's not healthy, and it's sometimes it could be a problem. So learn where your grocery stores are, things like that. Like again, like I go back to it, that's how you can save money in any destination that you go to. If you drink a lot, go stock up a bar. If you eat a lot, go stock up on a lot of food. You should know where your grocery stores are and everything like that. That's going to save you some money. So let's talk about the nightlife, because I know a lot of people talk about the night. So I'm trying to go around from circle to circle, category to category. So the nightlife is pretty nice. You have so many nice little lounges and clubs and bars, and the thing I like about Medellin over majority of the city, I'm not saying majority of the city, but the city here in Cartagena, is because it's a city, guys. So you can do yoga in the morning. You can go and do, salsa dancing classes at night. You can learn cooking classes. You can volunteer. You can go to the theater. You can go see shows. There's so many great things that you can do in Medellin, and I think that that's the reason why the nightlife is top tier. Oh man, that's not even what I'm doing right now. That's why I think that's why I consider the nightlife to be pretty good. And then again, you have so many neighborhoods and barrios that you don't have to be in one area to party. You don't have to be in one area to party. Like for me, I remember me and my friend, she and I would go to actually where we go? We went to a reggae club in a place called Jams. Just a reggae club, like in the middle of the neighborhood, and we were like, wow, this is a legit like dance hall experience in the middle of the neighborhood. And that's just one thing that you can do, you know. Like we sit outside and have wine in the park, you know. That's something that you can do. So Medellin is definitely a magical city. I think that the only thing that I could say, a lot of people don't stay there long enough. I think coming for a couple of days, you only get the tourist experience, but not the expat experience. And the expat experience and the tourist experience are two different experiences. So guys, I think you should really look into Medellin if you can. I'm cooking and talking to you at the same time, so please forgive me for the sizzles that you hear in the back. But yeah, I think that you would really like Medellin. And then another thing about not just the nightlife, you have El Poblado, the park and jet that's jumping. That's where pretty much everybody from all over Medellin comes to that area to come party, because that's the most happening clubs and things are going on. You have concerts, you have, I mean, man, there's so much stuff that goes on in the city. And some people could say that it's boring if they're not involved, you know, if you're not involved. And sometimes it's hard to, you have to physically get involved because information there is hard to get. You got to get in Facebook groups, you got to know people. Colombians are not very social people. They're not socialites, right? And what I mean by that is they're not going to, this is another thing about the nightlife, Medellin's a little bit more open than other areas of Colombia, but hold on 1 second. They're a little bit more open than other places in Colombia, but they don't migrate and mingle like that and mix and talk and laugh, and they're very much in organized, like family-oriented crews and cliques. Very high schoolish a little bit, but they still have a good time. They still have fun. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have when they come here, and I think I had it multiple times, because I'm like, yo, oh my gosh, I love Medellin, it's so much fun, or Colombia is so much fun, but you get there, it's kind of like people are kind of standoffish a little bit. So the nightlife is not like Miami, to where everybody's turning up and partying and stuff like that, and you're bumping into people and meeting people and mixing and mingling. You will with some expats, but you will not with the culture, the Colombian culture. So this is something that you just need to be aware of and understand. Overall, guys, I think this is a great place to start. I'll have more conversations about Colombia. I'm definitely going to talk to you guys about a beautiful place that I was living previously before this, which was Tulum, Mexico. I lived in Tulum, Mexico, started a business in Tulum. I'm telling you right now, that is another magical place. And I can go into more details about that on my next video, but I just wanted to talk to you guys briefly while I cooked here, talk to you about why I am here, what's going on. And Medellin, Colombia is definitely a place that you guys got to check out, all right? So until next time, don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to hit you with some good content for sure, and enjoy your day.